Yesterday I came across this documentary, The Bleeding Edge. It's on Netflix and it is about medical devices that are directly put into humans and the complications that arise from that because of metal toxicity. Check it out, it's really good documentary. Copper toxicity can be caused by genetic condition or exposure to high levels of copper. Healthy and unhealthy copper levels. Copper is a heavy metal that's perfectly safe to consume at low levels. You have about 50 to 80 milligrams of copper in your body. That's mostly found in your muscles and liver, where excess copper is filtered out into waste products like pee and poop. Normal range of copper levels in the blood is 70 to 140 micrograms per deciliter. Your body needs copper for a number of processes and functions. Copper helps develop tissues that make up your bones, joints, and ligaments. You can get plenty of copper from your diet. Copper toxicity means you have more than 140 micrograms per deciliter copper in your blood. I find the hair analysis much more reliable. Hidden copper toxicity indicators in hair tests. Order a hair tissue mineral analysis. So it will be interpreted by a properly trained practitioner. You just have to send in some hair sample and they can tell you what's going on. What are the symptoms of copper toxicity? Headaches, fever, passing out, feeling sick, throwing up blood in your vomit, diarrhea, black poop, abdominal cramps, brown ring-shaped markings in your eyes, yellowing of eyes and skin, jaundice. Copper poisoning may also cause the following mental and behavioral symptoms: feeling anxious or irritable, having trouble paying attention, feeling overexcited or overwhelmed, feeling unusually sad or depressed, sudden changes in your mood. So my mother had that. Overwhelmed, sad or depressed, yes, and changes in mood, yeah. Long-term copper toxicity can also be fatal or cause kidney conditions, liver damage or failure, heart failure, brain damage. Yeah, so with my mother it ended up in a stroke and she lost her ability to form words properly, speak fluently, which is called aphasia. So there are medical conditions and disorders. Some genetic condition can also affect your liver's ability to filter out copper properly. This can result in chronic copper toxicity. So then you have to be careful to not overeat those foods. especially the vegans. Look at that. Seeds, nuts, soybeans, beans, vegetables. That's basically the vegan diet. Can lead to copper toxicity if you are not careful. So, of course, you can have anxiety without being high in copper. But then they say high copper levels and anxiety disorders is often a strong correlation of those high in copper. And doing a hair test will inform you of your exact mineral status and help you determine the actual level of unbound copper, as well as other nutrient imbalances. I think a hair test is really much more reliable than a blood test. So, there are many types of anxiety, but I'm not going into that. So this is how the eye looks like, so-called Fleischering. And my mother's eyes are all yellow in here.
Copper, okay? It's actually quite common, but people don't realize it. I'm going to give you the symptoms first. Depression, anxiety, no focus, overworked adrenals, which is going to create adrenal fatigue, and then fatigue, insomnia, of course, which leads to more fatigue, low blood pressure, sometimes vomiting, and there's a whole list of additional symptoms. I mean, hypothyroidism, black tarry stool, I mean, the list goes on and on. This is going to be a very summary video. I put a link down below of a great comprehensive video if you want more information. But it's a very common thing, but people don't realize they might even have this condition. A good blood test / hair analysis could pick it up real fast. Now realize that copper works with zinc, and you need copper in your body for many different things. But when it becomes too high, it becomes very toxic. Now there's several causes of having too much copper in your body. One is you're using certain cookware that has copper in it. 2, birth control pills, as well as the IUD. That can put copper in your body and create a huge imbalance.
As I said in the beginning, they talk about this in the Netflix documentaries. America has most technologically advanced healthcare system in the world, yet medical interventions have become the third leading cause of death. And the overwhelming majority of high-risk implanted devices never require a single clinical trial. They just get approved by the FDA. So I will put the link in the description, The Bleeding Edge. You can watch that on Netflix. So the permanent birth control is sure sold by Bayer, a permanent sterilization device. It's inserted through the uterus and placed in one of the fallopian tubes. It's intentionally designed to cause an inflammatory response, which generates scar tissue. How can that be a good thing? The scar tissue closes off the fallopian tubes permanently. Or so they thought. Actually, those things end up somewhere else. Women are told there is no danger. Bullshit. But women are in more pain, bleeding stronger, and having many other symptoms. This is the largest Facebook group that is mentioned in the Netflix documentary. The group is for women who have had the Essure procedure and are suffering or have suffered from side effects which may be attributed to Essure. Can you imagine? So many women got hurt. So there was a lot of damage done. And there are also groups for that on Facebook. Post-Essure autoimmune symptoms. This group is for women who are experiencing autoimmune and related symptoms after Essure. And there are still similar devices being implanted. You can't just put copper into your body and expect nothing will happen. So this is how copper will start to look like when it oxidates. The government's apology acknowledges the horrific outcomes of vaginal mesh implants. Effects of too much copper is massive. Cell death in hippocampus. Alters neurotransmitters. Stimulates amygdala, that's why you have more anxiety. Impairs neocortex function. So, logical thinking goes out the window. This is the Netflix trailer.
I had a medical device that broke, leaving fragments everywhere, which set off a connective tissue disorder that started deteriorating my joints. Holy crap.
Are everywhere.
It's pretty amazing. Tongue depressors,
Prosthetic limbs,
implants, pacemakers.
because it's everywhere, we have to be careful.
To have the newest technology.
New equates to unproven.
I thought it was simple, and it all made sense.
It costs $25 to bring to market, and they sell for $2,000 a pop.
It's a very profitable part of the healthcare system.
Companies' new products may not be safer than other products in the market, but they will promote them to drive up their profits.
What they did was willfully ignore the risks that they were putting these people to without telling them. After my operation, I started having health issues.
Back pain, it was debilitating. I could barely walk.
I was going blind, I was seeing stars. It changed the full direction of my life.
How can you clear something that's been shown to be dangerous?
It's gotten worse over time because of greed. Welcome to the business.
So the Essure was taken off the market, but there are still those that suffer from the consequences. And those are all signatures from women. Look at how many there are. And there are still other such devices made from copper.
Copper is one of those trace minerals that you need in very, very small amounts. You don't need large amounts. That is one of the reasons why I don't put copper in a lot of my products, and if I do, it's in very, very small amounts with other minerals, especially zinc, because you don't want to just take copper for a long period of time because it's going to throw off a lot of other minerals, specifically zinc. So the more copper you have, the more zinc deficiencies that you're going to get. And zinc deficiency is very, very common, but it's also very important to know all the different causes of a zinc deficiency, which will lead to excess amounts of copper. Now, low stomach acids create a zinc deficiency, okay, because you need the acid to help you absorb zinc. And if you're deficient in zinc, you're going to have excess amount of copper. And then straight zinc deficiency, which you can get more data in the link down below. One way to help counter the toxicity of copper is to actually take zinc. All right, there's certain foods that are very, very high in copper. That would be dark chocolate, mushrooms, definitely shellfish, but shellfish also has zinc, so sometimes that can actually counter it. But if you're trying to get rid of the toxic effect of copper I probably would just go low on all of these foods right here. Nuts, sesame seeds are very high in copper. Now, if the gallbladder is either missing or congested, you're not going to be able to eliminate copper that well. And that can back up in the liver and create all sorts of damage in the liver as well as in the brain.
If you are copper toxic, you have to do a hair mineral analysis and some blood work to determine your levels. And then even then, it's not that simple. So copper toxicity is very elusive, but we tend to go by symptoms. If you have a lot of the symptoms of copper toxicity, we want to approach you like you may be copper toxic. And there are certain supplements that help to reduce copper in the body. A product called Intestinal Metal Detox. That's by Quicksilver Scientific. That is fantastic at getting into your gut and preventing copper absorption from your diet or supplements or water into your gut, so you can reduce that intake or ingestion of copper. If you are copper toxic, it's essential. Another thing that's great at removing copper are zeolites. So I love this product. It's Cytodetox. This is my favorite zeolite. This is a new formulation from Dr. Daniel Pompa, which I've been taking. I think it's a fantastic product, very effective, shown in the research to remove copper. But one of the most effective ways to detox copper is supplementing with molybdenum. So I call it Mo for short. Anytime I have a client that's copper toxic, I give them some Mo or molybdenum, and usually want to take about 500 micrograms per day or with a meal. And that's going to help you to metabolize excess copper, to clean up copper from your blood, and also helps you to metabolize excess sulfur as well. So that's one of the most effective things if you have high copper levels, to take molybdenum. But you have to watch your levels. Some people's molybdenum can shoot up really fast. So you want to be careful. You don't want to be taking molybdenum for 6 months or something. It's something you take in small doses for short periods of time, like a month. Zinc is incredibly effective. You have to take zinc to oppose copper and kind of displace it from cells. Very important.
So foods high in zinc. Oysters is one. Of course, meat. Then you have eggs, liver, salmon. So there are certainly others, but those are just 5 of them.